She said, "Don't wait up." That's all. 4 words. No kiss on the cheek. No explanation. Just that line tossed over her shoulder like a worn coat. She couldn't be bothered to hang up. Her heels clacked down the steps as the door closed behind her, and for a moment, the house felt like a stage after the final act. Empty, with the echo of something that used to matter still lingering in the air. I stood there, in the soft light of our kitchen, one hand still on the mug I'd poured for her. Coffee, 2 sugars, a splash of oat milk. Her usual. It sat untouched, cooling fast. The clock above the sink blinked 8:23 p.m. We'd been married 6 years. The first 3 felt like we were building something. Nights tangled in laughter, whispered dreams about the house we'd saved for, the kids we might have, the life we thought we deserved. But somewhere between her second promotion and my third layoff, we drifted. Not like boats in a storm. More like glaciers, slow, massive, silent. You don't notice the separation until there's a whole ocean between you. Her name is Maya. She used to doodle hearts on the corners of grocery lists and hum while folding laundry. She used to call me babe without irony. Somewhere along the line, that turned into "Can you not?" and "I'm tired." Somewhere along the line, I became an obligation. I didn't want to admit I knew where she was going that night. But I did. I'd seen the text 2 weeks earlier. A name I didn't recognize, Eli. Just Eli, like he was someone so obvious I didn't even deserve the full introduction. He had a way with words, I'll give him that. His messages dripped with confidence, with familiarity, with jokes only 2 people who'd shared more than a few nights together would understand. When I confronted her, I expected denial, maybe tears. Instead, she said, "Are you seriously checking my phone now?" "No, I'm sorry. No, it's not what it looks like." Just deflection, dismissal, and I backed off. Like I always did. It's strange, the things you do when you love someone who's already left the relationship. You give them rope, hoping they'll climb back instead of using it to pull further away. You make excuses for their absences, their silence, their sudden disinterest in every part of you that once made them smile. But that night, I didn't wait up. I sat for a while, sure. Watched the clock roll past 10, then 11. Poured myself a drink I didn't really want. Checked my phone even though I knew it wouldn't buzz. I think I just needed something to hold. Something that wasn't the weight of everything I wasn't saying. At midnight, I opened our bedroom closet and stared at her side. Half empty, like she'd already started packing in silence. Her favorite heels were gone. So was the silk robe I bought her last Christmas, the one she never wore for me. I didn't rage. I didn't cry. I didn't even sigh. I just grabbed the small tool set from the hallway cupboard and headed for the front door. The lock was easy enough. I'd watched a tutorial once when we first moved in, just in case. Took me 20 minutes to uninstall the old one and fit the new deadbolt in place. The click of it locking, solid, final, sounded louder than I expected. Like the house was exhaling after holding its breath for too long. Then I sat down at the dining table, opened my laptop, and began the other part. Phone plan, changed. Utilities, split. Bank account, passwords updated. My name was on the mortgage, hers wasn't. I hadn't asked for that. She just shrugged during the paperwork and said, "It's all the same in the end." She'd been wrong about a lot of things. By 2:30 a.m., the house was still quiet. I considered going to bed, but decided to sit by the window instead. The porch light cast a soft glow over the driveway. Every few minutes, a car passed, none of them hers. And then, at exactly 3:58 a.m., headlights. She pulled in like nothing was wrong. Like this was any other late night after drinks with the girls, except her makeup was too perfect and her dress was one I'd never seen. Shorter than she used to wear. Tighter. Her heels clicked on the walkway, slow and deliberate. I watched her reach into her purse, fish out her keys. The moment her hand met the lock, I saw it. Confusion. She tried again. The key didn't work. Tried the second one. Same result. She pulled her phone out, thumbed in my number. I didn't pick up. The second call came a minute later. Then a third. Then silence. I stayed by the window, hidden behind the curtain. Not out of cowardice, but because I wanted her to sit with the moment. Really sit with it. The weight of choices. The finality of consequences. She stood there for a while, looking at the door like it had betrayed her. Then she sat on the porch step, arms wrapped around her knees, phone dark in her lap. I didn't go out. She had told me not to wait up. So I didn't. She didn't leave right away. I thought she might storm off, call a friend, maybe even get into that sleek little car and speed away like she had somewhere else to be. But she didn't. She sat there on the porch, knees drawn up, her breath fogging in the early morning chill. She looked small, like a girl who had stayed out too late and didn't know how to explain herself. A part of me, it shames me to admit, wanted to go to her, to open the door, to ask if she was cold, to invite her in and pretend the last 6 months hadn't happened. But I didn't, because I finally realized what I'd been doing all this time. I'd been folding myself into smaller and smaller versions of who I used to be just to fit inside the life she wanted. The quiet husband, the understanding one, the man who swallowed his pride for peace. And all it earned me was distance and silence. The porch light flickered. It does that sometimes. I never got around to fixing it. At 4:12 a.m., she stood up and tried the door one more time. The sound of her key scraping uselessly inside the new lock echoed into the hallway. She knocked then, not hard, not frantic, just a soft, almost embarrassed tap. I stayed still. My heart was beating faster than it should have been. She knocked again, louder this time. Then her voice came, quiet but clear. "Daniel, I know you're awake." I didn't move. I just need to get my charger and some clothes. I'll be out of your hair." There was a pause. I could hear her footsteps shifting. "I know I messed up, but come on, not like this. Can we just talk?" Talk. We'd done so much talking over the years. Long talks on lazy Sunday mornings, heated ones after missed anniversaries, hushed ones when one of us came home later than promised. But lately, it felt like we weren't talking to each other anymore, just around each other. Words became shields. Or swords. Never bridges. "I know about Eli," I finally said. There was silence. Not even a gasp. Not even denial. "Your texts were still on the tablet," I continued. "You never logged out." A beat passed. Then her voice, quieter than I'd ever heard it. "Okay. That was it. Not I'm sorry. Not let me explain. Just okay." Like it was nothing more than confirmation of a weather forecast. Like we were just acknowledging the rain outside, not the fact that she'd been slipping away piece by piece into someone else's arms while I was still trying to make the bed warm for two. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she said after a long stretch. "I let that one sit in the air like secondhand smoke. I was lonely," she added. "And you were always so far." I turned away from the door then, leaned against the wall. My chest felt hollow, like she'd scooped something out of me and didn't even realize it. "Funny," I said. "I thought I was staying close to keep you warm. Guess I didn't realize I was standing in the way." Her voice caught then. "Just barely. I didn't come back to fight, Daniel." "Good," I said. "Because the war's over." She tried to laugh, an awkward, brittle sound. "So this is it. You changed the locks, and that's your big goodbye?" I looked at the door. At the knob she used to hang her purse on when she got home. At the floor mat she insisted we buy with the quote, "Love grows here." I should have thrown that out the night I found the first text. "You told me not to wait up," I said softly. "So I didn't." A pause. "I didn't think you'd actually." "What?" I asked. "Stand up for myself?" She didn't respond. I don't know how long we stood there on either side of that door. Minutes? A lifetime? Eventually, she gave up. I heard the faint shuffle of heels on concrete. The sound of her car door opening. Then closing. The engine hummed to life, headlights flashing across the windows. And just like that, she was gone. I didn't cry. I thought I might. Thought maybe the weight of it all would hit once I was alone. But instead, what I felt was something quieter. Not relief. Not quite peace. Just space. A kind of silence that didn't hurt. I made a cup of coffee around 5 a.m. Sat at the kitchen table and watched the sky lighten through the window. The world was still out there, indifferent, unbothered. Birds would chirp, alarms would ring, and people would wake up in homes that still held promises. Mine didn't. Not anymore. But it held me. And for the first time in a long while, that felt like enough. The day after she left, or rather, the day after I let her find out she no longer had a key, I didn't get out of bed right away. The silence was unfamiliar at first. Not the awkward silence of two people avoiding each other under the same roof, but something cleaner. Emptier, yes, but also honest. By mid-morning, I had 4 missed calls. 1 from her, 2 from a mutual friend, 1 from a number I didn't recognize. I didn't answer any of them. At noon, I packed up what remained of her things. The drawers had already been thinning for weeks, her closet half empty, her skincare bottles slowly disappearing from the bathroom sink. The Maya who had once left handwritten notes in my coat pockets was long gone. This version of her? She had been preparing to walk away long before the door locked behind her. I found a box, folded her clothes carefully. I didn't rage, didn't throw anything. Just moved quietly from room to room, collecting the parts of her that hadn't already vanished. Her scarf on the hook by the stairs. A pair of heels under the couch. A framed photo of us at Cannon Beach. Our first trip together, back when even silence between us had felt comforting instead of cold. I took that photo out of the frame. Put it in the box, too. By evening, I left the box on the porch. Texted her, "Your things are outside. I'll be gone tomorrow. Please pick them up by then." The message was read. No reply. That night, I sat on the couch and stared at the television without watching anything. The house had a different kind of quiet now. Not tense. Not expectant. Just still. I started thinking back to the way she used to laugh when she was barefoot in the kitchen, playing old 90s songs while we cooked. To how she used to curl up next to me on the couch and fall asleep with her hand on my chest like it was home. But also, I remembered how that faded. How she started sleeping on the far edge of the bed. How she flinched when I touched her shoulder one night after dinner and said I missed her. How her eyes lit up more reading her phone than when I walked into a room. We had both stopped trying. I just held on longer. Maybe because I thought love was supposed to be hard. Maybe because I confused endurance with devotion. But now, sitting alone with the last of her perfume still lingering in the hallway, I realized something simple and painful. We stopped being us a long time ago. I just didn't want to admit it. The next morning, I left. Not forever, just for a few days. Drove out to my brother's cabin 2 hours east. No cell signal. No noise. Just time. The first night, I slept for 10 hours straight. Deep. Dreamless. By the third day, I turned my phone back on. One message. From Maya. Just 5 words. You didn't even say goodbye. I stared at it for a long time. Then typed back. You did. You said it when you told me not to wait up. She never responded. Weeks passed. Then months. I never changed the number. Never blocked her. But she never called again. I heard through a friend that Eli didn't stick around. Apparently, real life didn't feel as thrilling as sneaking around behind someone's back. Shocking, really. The house is quieter these days. I rearranged the furniture. Got rid of the couch we bought together. Painted the hallway. I even started cooking again. Not for anyone else, just for me. Sometimes, the silence still gets heavy. But it's mine. And it's honest. And you know what? That night, when she said don't wait up, I didn't. And for once, I'm glad I listened.